All right, guys, let me get the monitor up and we'll get started. I better turn the sound down. We'll be picking up a lot of echo. Ah, where'd it go? All right. Maybe. Okay. Hang on, guys. Let me share this out, and we'll get busy here. Okay. I think that's got everybody. Oh no, I got to do Peter's group. There we go. All right. Okay, so it's what day is this? Friday. When you're retired, what day of the week it is doesn't quite matter. So today's going to be kind of a question and answer period thing for you guys. If you have any questions at all, I'm going to paint a little painting here as I go. We're going to do some like a little bit of an ocean scene maybe. So I thought I'd step you through that. But feel free to ask any questions that you have. I'll be glad to answer them if I know the answer. If I don't, I will tell you that for sure. All right. So let me get I've rearranged my studio the last couple of weeks, but I haven't painted so many times the last couple of weeks, so I'm still getting used to the setup here, the change in setup. All right, so let's get, hey Carolyn, hey Deborah. All right, so it's a question and answer period. If you got some questions or you want to see a particular technique, you know, like around trees or any of that kind of thing, just let me know. We'll work it out before we hang up. If anybody knows why my cat's fussing, he's always fussing. All right, he's very talkative. All right, so like I'm gonna paint a water scene, but I'm not sure exactly what I was gonna go into it yet. I sort of have a kind of idea. Let's just kind of stick some tape across here. Now I'm using this regular blue Scotch painter's. No, this is 3M, not Scotch. I usually use Scotch. Scotch works a little better than 3M. But if you're having trouble with, if you make the oval things like Bob Ross used to make, I've done some of those. Or if you're, I do that sometimes when I'm making a large sun in the sky. I use contact paper. And if you're having trouble sealing that, so that you get, hey, Navin, is that right? All right, if you have trouble getting a nice crisp edge, once you put your contact paper down or your tape, just run a bead of this, not a bead actually, but this is Liquitex matte gel. You can run that along the edges of your tape, and when you pull it off, it'll be a very sharp edge. And it's acrylic, so it works well over the top of the gesso. So this is a standard canvas, standard economy canvas, back stapled economy canvas. It's got 2 coats of gesso on it, of acrylic gesso that I made. If you want to know how to make gesso, just look in my video library. You will see a way to do that. So let's see. Let's get some liquid white. Put a little bit of a sky up here. Most of this scene is going to be not sky. All right, so I'm going to get the liquid white. Now you can buy liquid white in a can. Comes by a variety of names. You can get liquid white from the Bob Ross Company. You can get amazing white from the Brandon Thomas art company online. He's a small guy, small company, but great product if you want that. Good service. So you try Brandon's stuff. It's pretty nice. BrandonThomasArt.com. Today I'm using Bob Ross because I got some for Christmas, so use it up. If you want to make your own, you can do that. There's a video in my library about that too. When it comes to mediums and stuff, there's a lot of things in my library about that. All right, so I'm just wiping my hands off with some baby wipes. It does a good job of getting paint off your hands. All right, so let's get on with this. So I'm going to take a 1-inch brush. Let's see what kind of paint. Let me see what color of hue do I want to use today. Let's use some cerulean blue hue. Hey, Billy. Hey, Cheryl. Hey, guys, it's question and answer period today, so if you have any questions about something, just let me know. If it's something I actually need to stop the painting for, I will do that, and we'll just, like, if you want to see, like, how you do a particular kind of tree or something, I'm not in a hurry today. I don't have anywhere I got to be. It's raining outside, so I can't go in the garden. So if you got something you want to see or questions you want to ask, fire them up. Hey, Gary, I'm fine. Emily Jean, how are you, dearest? Emily Jean, otherwise known as Little Painter Girl, is one of the most awesome artists I know. So if you haven't checked her out, her channel, you might want to do that. There's not too many people who can paint as well as she can. I am her #1 fan. #1, but I'm not the #1 fan from Tennessee. I'm just the #1 fan, period. All right, so let's do this. Let's get, I got the liquid white out and then I put it away. I put a little bit of a cerulean blue sky up there, so I need to put some liquid white down first. So let's do that. You know it's true, Emily. All right, you know it's true. All right, so I got a 1-inch brush here. I'm just gonna put some liquid white. Where this tape is, we'll just leave that be for the moment. But we will go below that and put some medium on there. So this is just liquid white. If you want to make your own, just take some titanium white and some linseed oil, about 50-50. We'll make it come out pretty good. Make it pretty good medium. So we're gonna have a little bit of sky, a bunch of ocean. I don't know if it's gonna be ocean or lake. I think it'll probably be more like maybe a small sea. How long does it normally take for your paints to fully dry? 2 weeks, usually. The hardest thing to dry is titanium white. It takes about 2 weeks to dry. You can use an accelerator for that. And I have some of that. Liquid. You can use some liquid, and that will help it dry and at least tack up pretty well in a couple of hours, so that you can, if you need to paint over it. But I mean, mostly I paint wet on wet, so I don't really. But once I finish a painting, it takes it. If it's got a lot of white in it, it's going to take a couple of weeks. If it's mostly darks colors, like Van Dyke Brown, will dry in about 2 days. All right, I'm just cleaning the brush from all those mineral spirits. Hey, Debbie from East Dundee. Hey, Ian. I'm just going to paint like a little ocean scene, maybe with some big mountains in the front. I've got this little sketch here. I've thought about it today. I'll show you. I don't think I want to put this stupid looking boat in here, but you guys see that? So we'll paint something like that. It never comes out complete. Once I get started, I kind of follow along wherever the painting's going to go. So it usually doesn't come out the same way I sketched it, ever, hardly ever. All right, so let's put some cerulean blue up here. We'll leave some motion in the sky, so we'll leave some gaps here. So it's important, if you want to have your sky have some motion in it without putting a lot of clouds up there, which I do want to put some clouds in here maybe, but just leave some spaces like this. So you left these open spaces along in here. There we go. All right, we'll just clean this brush again. Oh, speaking of that, I just reconditioned the brush. Let me check that out. Where'd it go? Where'd that brush? Well, I laid it over there. Yeah, I'll try it before I get done painting. I might do a couple paintings today. All right, so I'm just drying this brush out really well. All right, now. Oh. Okay. All right, so we're just going to blend this out. We're going to use the tip of this brush, like right here. We're going to go around and around and around, and sometimes we'll go backwards, just to kind of. Now you can blend this with an X stroke like this, like Bob Ross does, if you want to. You can do it like that. I tend to do it like this. And I'll tell you why I do it that way. It tends to make it, for me, it tends to make it more random, and you get less brush strokes. I don't like a lot of brush strokes in there. I don't want the brush strokes to shoot, unless I'm purposely working on putting brush strokes in. which sometimes I will if I'm adding texture. All right, here we go. So now you can see you've got some movement in the sky, like there's some clouds, insinuated back in the background without actually throwing a couple in. But we will put some in. All right, clean this brush. And I think for the ocean, let me think about this. Well, all right, let's see. Let me think about that. What did I say? All right, tell you what. Before I put this brush away, let's pull in some color. So let's just. I have to put some more color in here in a little while because where that tape is. So where we're going to want the ocean to be. So, or at least the water. I don't think it's really an ocean. I think it's more like a lake. I'm purposely kind of leaving some of the paint thicker in some places just to give the water some motion. You can insinuate some waves without having to put a lot of waves in there. If you guys have any questions, by the way, on any kind of painting, whether it's trees or clouds or whatever, let me know. This is all traditional oil painting, wet on wet, so just regular oil paints. Just down here across the bottom. There we go. All right. Hello, Soppy. No. Questions are good. So why do you use both the gesso and the liquid white? Okay, that's a really good question. So let's talk about that. Let me get another canvas, though. It's easier to talk about. Hang on a second. All right, so here's, and I really don't mind pausing to answer questions because I'm a self-taught artist and I learn from people by watching YouTube. So, okay. So here's a standard white canvas. It's got 2 coats of gesso on it, acrylic gesso. So here's the raw canvas. And as you can see, well, I don't know if you can or not. Can you see it's like, you can see all the filament and everything? Now, this is primed on the other side with, at the factory, but this just kind of sprayed on a kind of a sealant to go on the canvas. So just run it down the assembly line. Psh. So it's not very good. It's not very absorbent. So I tend to put 2 coats of acrylic gesso over the top of this. And you can either sand it or not sand it. It doesn't matter to me. Depends on, if you're doing something that requires it to be really smooth, like portraits, then you want to sand it. Hey, Carol. But the reason you put gesso on is gesso is an acrylic product. It's made of glue, plaster, water, acrylic paint. That's it. And it creates an acrylic ground, what they call a ground. And what that means is it creates a layer of paint between your canvas and your paint. So, and particularly with oil paints, that's important because if you take and you put your oil paint flat on raw canvas, then what would happen is your paint would soak in unevenly because the threads are uneven, right? So, and it'll really give you some bad effects. So by putting a really nice ground underneath of it, which is what this acrylic gesso does, it gives you a platform to paint on. And you can use gesso, even use gesso when you're painting rocks, believe it or not. So it gives you a nice surface to paint on. On the other hand, liquid white, let me finish talking about gesso for a minute. Gesso can come in any color. I just showed you one in white. This one's in black. See, the canvas is white, but you can see around the edges there where I painted where I put black gesso on here. 2 coats of black gesso. But it can be any color. It can be, Marion Dutton does a video on YouTube painting a Christmas scene that she actually used a pink gesso. So Brandon Thomas has, what is it called? Tropical blue, I think, gesso. And I think he also has like a shocking pink gesso. So whatever undercoloring you want. A lot of people like to use tones of brown, burnt umber type colors for their underpainting. So you might Now, let's go to liquid white. So that's gesso. It gives you a foundation to put your paints on top of. Let me clean this brush out real quick before I forget. Then I'll talk about liquid white. So did that make sense? Cheryl? Let me know if you have any questions about that part. All right, now let's go back to talk about liquid white. So this is liquid white. You can buy, it comes in several names, liquid white, amazing white, I don't know any other names, but those are two of them that you can find. It's just a brand name. But it is actually oil paint mixed with linseed oil. And its purpose is it goes on top of the gesso before you start painting to allow you to blend. Like all this blending that I just did here. You guys might have seen how quickly I blended that. But you know what? I'll just show you. Hang on a second. Let me set this painting aside for just a second, and I'll show you the difference in using it and not using it. Let's get that. Where'd the canvas go? All right, so this is the canvas I just showed you a minute ago, right? So let's just take, before we put some liquid white up there on it, I'm just going to pick up standard oil paint, just regular oil paint, cerulean blue, and I'm just going to put some strokes on here. Now, you see how splotchy it looks? Now, you can work at that, right? You can continue to work at that, try to get that. But it's really not too exciting to try to get those brush strokes and stuff out of there. Let me show you the difference. So let's take some liquid white. Let me take another brush real quick. Put some liquid white up here. We'll just put a thin coat. So now we've got the gesso coat, and we've got a coat of liquid white oil-based medium over the top of that, right? Take the same paintbrush we were using just a second ago. As soon as I clean this one out. All right, so let's take the same brush. Let me just put some paint back on it. Now over here, now watch the difference. Can you see how quickly it blends in there? So that allows your paints to blend really, really easy. So you go back down here again. Look, see how this is not treated. You can see you've really got to you got to work it, scrub it in there. So that's the difference. It's for blending. It's a blending medium. That's what it's for. And you can make a clear version of that. On black canvases, I tend to use liquid clear. They also make a liquid black, but I don't use that color. But you can. So that's the difference between the two. One is just a, yep. Okay, well now, okay, good. That's one good question. I hope you guys like that answer. Let me get the liquid white back away. We'll get our painting back up here. We'll come back. I guess I better paint something on that later today. All right, let's. I got the canvases sitting around all the place. Not a problem. Keep those questions coming. All right, so we put the sky in. We put some water in. We're gonna paint over the top. It's a lot of that, but let's just take the tape off. Just create that nice, clean water line there. And then, now that I just put the liquid white away, I can get it back out. All right, so let's get the liquid white back out. And we could paint, it doesn't matter, we could paint above or below that line, it doesn't much matter. I'm just going to put some liquid white right in here. Because I want this to be able to blend. But mostly I wanted to get that nice straight line in there. Because water, if you look at it, on the horizon, it's very straight. This is just cerulean blue we're putting in here. you probably can't tell it on the video, but there's a pretty distinct line where I had that straight line for me to paint across the. All right. Okay. So I'm done with that color, so I'm gonna put that away. Okay. All right. Let's get. Here's my sponsor. No, I don't have a sponsor. But I do recommend baby wipes for keeping oil paints off your hands. They work really good. So let me put this away and get something. Let's start doing some other things. All right, so we're going to put some, well, normally I would put some, well, I think I still will. I think I'll put a little bit of water line across the top, but not too much because I'm going to put some mountains in here in a second. So just put a little bit of titanium white down on the palette for now. I'm going to pick it up with a knife. Small bead of paint, about like this. So I do mean a small bead. Okay. We're just going to go right out here on this horizon line. And we're just going to insinuate some water. Yeah, just about like that. Put a little bit on this other side too, because I might put some land over that, but maybe not. We'll see. Come on. I didn't get the line I was looking for. There we go. All right. That's what we're looking for right there. Just a little bit of an insinuation. Okay, guys, for any kind of questions you have about oil painting, canvases, paints, brushes, knives, forks, whatever, just spit it out. I'll be glad to answer anything I know the answer to. I'll be glad to tell you. All right, let's put a little bit of mountain mixture. Now, mountain mixture is a pre-mixed color from the Bob Ross Corporation. You can make it yourself. This is what it's actually called, is mountain mixture. You can make it yourself. Just a little bit of Van Dyke Brown, alizarin crimson, and Prussian blue. Makes a nice color. Send me your paint knives. You don't use your knives. Well, I guess acrylics you don't have to use them so much, huh? Can you use them? Can you use them in acrylic painting, Emily? Can you use them for creating texture? All right. So let's see. I think I'll put these mountains in. Let's put them in. Let's put them in with a filbert. What's say? Oh yeah, let's use it because I got a brand new filbert. Look, it doesn't have any stains on it at all. So this is a filbert brush. It's kind of rounded on the edges. One of my favorite brushes. I have a bunch of different ones, but all right. So we're just going to kind of pick up some of this mountain mixture and some sap green. Mix that on the brush. We're not going to make the old brown mountains today. We're going to put some distant. Oh, got a hair. All right. So we're just going to come right in here. And paint in a mountain. I want to add a little bit more mountain mixture to that. So I can make this side a little darker. Oh, you know what? I got to answering those questions and I forgot to put the clouds up in the sky. That's okay. We'll put them up here in a second. There we go. And just flip the filbert over to the other side. All right. Okay, let me see. Let me catch up with the conversation here a little bit. Oh. Emma, have you decided what your next painting is going to be? If you guys haven't checked out Little Painted Girl, her channel, you need to do it. It's awesome. All right, so we got our first little mountain in here. we're not quite done yet. So let's put in some. So now we want to pull the next group of mountains closer. Oh, you know what? Let's put the clouds in the sky. All right, I'll tell you what. Let's just do it. All right, clouds. People. A lot of people get kind of hung up on clouds. Clouds aren't. They're just not just that hard to do. It's pretty hard to screw up clouds. You can put them up. You can put them on with this kind of a brush. You can put them on with a round brush, a flat brush. I put a lot of mine on with 1-inch brushes. I use these brushes a lot to put clouds up. So I don't know. Tell you what, I want to put a couple clouds up here. I'll use a fan brush to start with. Now, but then I'll switch back over to the other canvas and I'll show you how to do that. All right, so I got a fan brush. It's not properly loaded. Let me load it. So when you're pulling your fan brush through the paint to load it, you should be like about a 30-degree angle and wiggle it as you're pulling it through the paint, and that'll let it load paint evenly and through all the bristles. So you can see I've got a lot of paint. It's a small fan brush, but it's got a lot of paint in it. And I'm going to use good, Emily. Hey, Emily, did you see that all the money from those 22 paintings I sold went to a girls softball team at local high school? That was fun to do. All right, so we're gonna take this brush in. Let me try to use this for you. Piece of plexiglass. Hopefully the glare won't be too bad. Let me see. Let me kind of get it where the. Okay, there we go. So we're gonna turn this. I'm gonna turn this so you can see on the brush. We're going to turn this brush up 30-degree angle, and we're going to take it in on the edge like that. And we're just going to move it like that. All right? So, let me reload the brush now. Now that I just painted with plexiglass. All right. So we're just going to come up here. Now, there's a tendency sometimes, I have this tendency myself, for people to like have all their clouds pointing in this way. They don't have to be. I mean, you can start off with something that's light, and you can either... You can make a fluffy cloud. I'll tell you what. Let's just use a different canvas. Where'd that canvas go? Come here, you. Let's make yourself useful. All right. So let me slap a little bit more blue paint on this, and we'll talk about clouds. Well, first of all, I hope somebody's interested in clouds because I'm talking about it an awful lot. All right. Let's see. Take a little bit of liquid white, just to slick the canvas up a little bit. Let me do this kind of in a hurry. Let me put some over here too. All right, good enough. So pick up some cerulean blue real quick. We'll just throw this guy in here. Then we'll blend it out real quick. All right, that's a good spot. Okay, that looks okay. All right, so let's talk about some clouds. So you can turn this brush. You can create streamers, like little flat clouds, just by pulling your brush along and giving it a little bit of a wiggle, and create a cloud like that. You can give it a little twist like this. Bob Ross does a lot of clouds like this. Kind of move them up and down at random. Now, when you create those kind of clouds, let me get another brush here. You're going to want to, that's an older brush. You're going to want to, first of all, blend the bottoms out. And you can either leave them, I've heard people say like smooth them out like that, or you can just leave them rough. Clouds tend to do whatever they want to do, so however you do, it's going to be right. And then just kind of fluff them up a little bit and brush them across, and voila, you've got clouds. you can run a layer of clouds across the canvas by picking a spot and then just kind of see what I'm saying? Just like that. So it's, you know, they're not hard. All right, so there you go. There's a few different types of clouds. Now, if you don't have a light source directly in the painting, you may not want to highlight them, especially if you've got a fairly good contrast. But if you want your clouds to kind of not steal the show and kind of be in the background, and just that'll do it. If you want to highlight them, make sure you highlight them with a color that will be complementary to your light source. All right, let me clean these brushes up and we'll get back to work. All right, so let's go back to our original painting. Let me set this canvas aside again. All right, so back to this guy. Let's throw a couple clouds up in the sky. Now I showed you how to do them with a fan brush. I'll just lay these in with a filbert brush. Or if there's a different brush you'd rather see, just let me know. All right, because clouds don't play a big part in this. They're mostly streamer clouds. So I'll just lay those in with a filbert brush. So where'd that brush go? Oh, I got something dark on it. So let's get a bigger filbert brush. Oh, I want this. Let's get this flat one. All right. Okay. We'll need some titanium white. Yeah, just throw them up there. Just let them be free. Because honestly, when you blend them back out, they look pretty darn good. All right, so I'm loading up this filbert brush. Now, I've kind of loaded this pretty heavily. You can see. There's a couple of different ways you can do this. You can sketch them in, or you can hold them or you can just kind of pat them in, which is what I'm going to do. I got a little bit of insinuation of some cloud right there, so I'll probably just I don't want a lot of clouds in here. As you can see, I'm using a magnificent depth of skill to put this on here. No, I'm not really. I'm just kidding. All right. All right, now you see I picked up a lot of that blue color. I'm not going to clean the brush, I'm just going to wipe it out. And pick up some more titanium white. Maybe put a few over here. Okay. One good thing about just kind of tapping them in is that it really helps with the randomness. Wipe out the brush, pick up some more white, and put one little streamer in here. Ahead of that, here we go. Maybe one over here. I need a little more color than that. There we go. All right, that takes care of the clouds. Now I'm going to brush them back a little bit, just a second. I'm just going to fade them just slightly. Now you can leave them like this. Let me talk about the pros and cons of that. When you blend them, you push them farther back. I usually try to build between 13, 15 layers of depth into a painting. It seems like when people go, ooh, I really like that painting, it's usually, when I count the layers, that's kind of what it comes out. Right now we've got 1 layer, 2 layer, 1 layer, the sky and the clouds, 3 on the landscape, 4. So, we got a long ways to go. But with the clouds tapped like this, if you don't blend them back, they still hang out there in the sky pretty good. When you blend them, if you blend them, they're going to push back a little bit farther into the sky. But when you blend them, they're going to smooth out, whereas if you leave them just tapped like that, then people have texture. Although it makes me cringe sometimes. People like to touch paintings, and that's okay, especially if it's theirs. So, they like to feel that texture, and it gives them a nice feeling. And so, you decide how you want to do it. You can do it either way. It doesn't matter. Hey, Kathy. All right. Let's see if I can figure out what I did with my lemonade when I came down here. Ah, here it is. All right, so let me get a drink here, and then we'll start putting some more landscape in. All right, so I've got my sketch. I have a mountain range here. If you have any questions about those clouds, by the way, let me know. All right. All right, so it looks like I've got another mountain. It's on this side. That's way back there. So I'm just gonna So now these ones that are back here farther away, you want them to be lighter color, right? We're gonna pull this one down in front of that horizontal break line. Add a little bit of color to that to darken this one side. Just like that. Kind of like we did over here. Although we could stand this to be a little bit lighter, right like that. And then let's pull this down in front of the water line. Here we go. All right. And then we've got a couple of larger ranges. So let's darken this color. Let's start putting these mountain ranges in. These are more like big dudes. All right, let's add some color. Now you could put these in with a knife. That'd be fine. I'm just putting them in with a filbert because I had it in my hand. Right now we're just putting the color in, and then we'll build the peaks and stuff out in a minute. All right. So just using a little bit of that mountain mixture color all by itself. And then we got one big dude. So this makes it even darker still. We got this guy. Oh, you know what? There's another one too. So we're just working these layers forward. Now, there's a school of thought that says you should always paint from the back to the front. And I kind of sort of stick to that, but not in everything. And I'll explain what that means in a second. So we're just going to drag that island out there a little bit farther, like that. All right. I need some lighter. Okay. I think I want something just a little bit lighter than that on another mountain, like right in here. All right. Now we can start working on pushing those out. Hey, Sonny. All right. Now, the pushback part, what will set these back is the water line itself. These will help. And then we'll adjust. I want to adjust this mountain. It's a little too pointy. I don't like that. I don't like that big old point. Go around about like that. What do you say? There we go. So we'll leave that water line back there from the ocean. Let's clean that brush up. We'll slap a little bit of water line around some of these islands. So we use the small end of the knife. We're going to carry a bead of paint forward. Hey, Bruce. I'm so brave. Why am I so brave? What did you? I don't understand. I don't understand that comment. But okay, now putting these water lines in, we want to keep them horizontal, regardless of whether we're moving up and down the canvas, which is fine. We just want to make sure that we keep the water lines horizontal, because if you don't, then what will happen is your water will look like it's running off the curve, like it's running off the canvas. So you don't want to do that. But you'll notice that by adding these water lines, suddenly the islands start pushing back farther. So let's do this one over here. It's almost like the water lines themselves are almost like, even though they're small little pieces of paint, they really help to push. They're almost like a layer all by themselves. I'm pushing pretty hard on this canvas. If you can take it, you're going to really, really, really have to work to wear through the canvas. Hey Bruce, I'm doing fine, man. Hey Todd. All right, so let's just. Oh, I got a little too much paint here. Hang on. All right. Now let's put some more here. So we're kind of moving it up the canvas, but we're keeping the water lines straight. There we go. All right. Yeah. All right. Okay, so hey, this is a question and answer, guys. Anytime you want, if you have a question about something, canvases, knives, paintbrushes, paints, thinners, motivation. I'm never a lack for motivation. I'm always ready to paint. Emily was playing Dorothy today. Emily Jean. What was she doing? That's probably because she's been so happy with those lovely puns I've been leaving for her. That's what I think. This probably is. All right, we're gonna add some more colors to a couple of these islands. So I'm gonna take some cad yellow and some white. Yeah, I need more pink than that. There we go. A little bit of green, a little bit of sap green, and mixed in with it, just a little bit. Maybe a little bit more. Yeah. All right. So we made a little bit of a marble color. Now we're just going to highlight some of this. Now, when putting on your highlight, if you're using a knife, do not put your finger on the blade like this. If you do, it's going to create like a butter. See that? Can you see that right there? That's where I did one before. If you pull it down, you'll create like a butter pat. Instead of the paint breaking for you, which is what you need it to do, it'll create like a big smear of butter pat. So don't do that. So last week was a banner week for me. I sold 22 paintings. And it was fabulous. All the proceeds went to a girls softball team here locally, so that was good. Maybe a little bit more right there. Now I'm going to take that color. Marvel movies. Why am I not surprised? Are you going to try to watch all of them before you go see Endgame, Emily? You'll probably get to see it before me because we're not going to go opening weekend. I'll put a little bit of this lighter color out here, just on these other two islands, these other ones that are out there. All right, that looks okay. Now I think though I'll just take some pure mountain mixture. Now this will probably look black when I put it on this side of the mountain. It's probably going to look black, but it's really not. It's blue. It's more of a purplish kind of a blue. And I'm just going to use this to create some shadows on this mountain back here. I'm just barely touching it. The canvas take what it needs and give the rest of it back. All right. Okay. Good enough. Oh, yeah. Plastic knives. I have trouble with plastic knives. I had a stroke when I was young, and so I don't have any feeling in my left hand, even though I'm left-handed, because it took me a long time to learn how to do everything again left-handed once I had that happen to me. So I paint with both hands, but I don't have any feeling in this hand, so sometimes I tend to, painting's been really good for me because it allows me to work on my light touch. Okay, so I'm kind of looking at this. We've got some waves, floating along here, and that's kind of cool. I kind of like this effect. Now, if you take that and you smooth it out, take this texture and smooth it, it'll push the waves back farther, but it'll also take away like the rolling wave, white cap, if you're looking for it. Hey, Melinda. Wait a minute. Oh, from Texas. Where at in Texas? Oh, no. Tornado, did you say? I am. Don't get tornadoed. Be safe. Oh, you have a hard time? You have a hard time detailing and shadowing mountains? My brother is from San Antonio. That's why I ask. I was stationed in Texas for a while, and Wichita Falls, and down in San Antonio as well. All right, so tell me what kind of problems that you have with that. Maybe we can talk about that some. Oh, I opened a brand new can of or tube of titanium white. We're just going to add some more. Well, let's see. We could add some more breakers in here. So now, if you see this darker color, these are kind of cool. They kind of give you the indication that things are a little bit deeper right there, right? And you can add that effect if you didn't get it when you first put it in. You can add that effect just any brush. Usually I use a 1-inch brush. I'll use a filbert this time. But let's say I wanted to make some more of this deeper water over here. I'll just take some cerulean blue. Just kind of sketch it in here. That's all there is to it. And you kind of blend it out if you want. That's all there is to it. Letting a knife work. Yeah, don't put your finger on the top of it. That was the hardest thing for me to, your whole life, your mom taught you how to use a knife, and she always says, put your knife on the top, and you put that finger up there. That's how you stabilize it, but that's not what you want. You want your hand to be on both sides of this knife and not on the blade. The only time you want the knife on the blade is when you're putting in things like water lines where you want to bear down on the knife, and because then you're actually bending the knife, right? So let's put a couple little, I'm going to put some water lines in here. So I will have my finger on the edge of the knife because I'm actually taking it and I'm applying it. I'm picking up I'm tilting the blade, but I'm also pushing the knife up like that. So I'm getting some real pressure on this knife. Like that, because I want to lay in that texture. Now, if you don't want that much texture, as I was talking a while ago, I don't care one way or the other myself. I kind of like however it goes on there. That's kind of how I like it. But you can actually do some other things with that. You can blend it back. Let me show you if you want to. Would you like to see that? Would you like to see me blend that back? Yeah, watch your hold, because it's really easy to do. Another way, when you're trying to get used to doing some mountains, I'm going to hold up from this painting for just a second and talk about mountains, since I have somebody that's interested. Wants to talk about that. So we bring this worksheet painting thing that I did back up here. This is the one we were doing on the clouds. So let me quickly put a mountain up here to talk about highlighting mountains. I'll do this with a knife because people tend to make mountains with knives. So now you don't have to. You can do it with a filbert brush. But the main thing to remember when doing mountains is the less paint you have on the canvas, the easier it's going to be for the paint to stick. So, you know, let's just take this place. I've got the stain on the canvas, so I don't really need to worry about too much about rubbing it all off. It's almost impossible to rub it all off. And yet, I took all this paint off of there. You see? But you can see it doesn't really affect the sky all that much. Just take a brush and brush it back out. Have the same thing I had before. I just have less paint. All right, so I'm gonna put this mountain up there. So when you put the mountain on, let's do this quickly. Like that. Oh, I have a couple other colors. I just kind of mix these colors up if you don't mind. Let me put another one up here. So I want to talk about, matter of fact, let me put a couple up here. Hang on a second. Gather up all my excess paint. Now you can hear I'm putting a lot of pressure on this canvas. And the reason I am is I'm taking a lot of paint back off of the canvas, right? So, all right, so let me put that knife down. I'm going to pick up a brush, and I'm just going to shape these mountains a little bit. Let's pull this one down. Now, the one thing I like to talk about with these people is when you've got your mountains in this stage right here, you can do anything with them that you want. You can make them bigger, you can make them smaller. But let me show you real quick with a brush, just real quick. All right, so if we're looking at this, hang on, let me do it this way. So looking at this mountain is in the front. You can clearly see its slope, it's in the front. But I can take this brush and just pull this down. And suddenly they're 1, 2, 3. Or I can take this mountain and pull it down. And suddenly the mountain that was in the front is in the back. And then it's just a matter of, is that mountain going to be in the front? Or is this mountain going to be in the front? Or are they going to be even like that? You know? So you can play with all kinds of things about how you want your slopes to be. Do you want your slope to be a little bit more like that? Do you want it to be run out to the edge of the canvas like that? Do you want your canvas, your paint shadow side to be more like that? Or do you want your shadow side to be more like that? Can you guys see all that? So, you know, shape it, get it where you want it. And then get all of, you know. Now, the same thing that I just told you a while ago about taking paint off of the canvas still applies. Because if you want to layer on multiple colors, and if you watch some of my videos, you'll see I've put 5 or 6 layers of paint sometimes on a canvas. So you can actually just take a paper towel and rub that color out, right? And still have plenty of paint on there to build your layers on. See? So let's do that. Let's build some layers real quick. All right, so I've got kind of greenish color mountain, I reckon, since that's what I had. Let's put highlight on there. So we're going to pull down some some titanium white, just on this. We're going to hold it on the edge of the brush. We're just going to pull it. Now, let me talk about that for a second. You can do this a couple of different ways. You can pull it and just do it all in one pull, like this. Or you can kind of stab at it a little bit, like let the paint stick where it wants to stick, like that. Or you can kind of tap it like this. There's lots of different ways. But as you notice, I'm still not putting my finger, because if you put your finger on top, and you pull that down, you're going to get this butter pat. That's not what you want. All right. Now, on top, to add to that, and then we'll go back to my painting again, back to my other painting. What do I do with that? Let's pull up a little bit of darker color here real quick. Just to kind of show you this. You're adding highlights, but remember that you have reverse highlights as well, right? So, and actually if you can put 3 different colors of highlights on there, you kind of roll off. So let's use this mountain mixture color. You can come in right here where you put this lighter color, and you can put some dark in there too. And that will add a lot of depth and texture to your mountain. So, it's all a matter of how you want to do it, And don't always just use, blacks and whites and snow. Sometimes, I think some of the paintings that people like the most, I've used a lot of browns in my mountains. People kind of like, or grays, they kind of like that too. So, okay, I hope that helps. Great, okay, good deal. All right, so back to this other painting. I don't even know where this other painting's going yet. I guess we'll figure this out. So I'll tell you what, let's pick up some yellow ochre. Let's use a 1-inch brush, I guess. We use this is a Brandon Thomas landscape brush, but we'll use it for this anyway. Let's just put in some beach. Got a hair on there. Ah, get off of there. There we go. These brushes don't usually shed, but I guess every brush eventually will do 1 or 2. All right. So this will look more beachy here in a second. Hey, Jane. You're welcome, Melinda. You're certainly welcome. Anytime. Okay, guys. Let's go. Let's put a couple of rocks in here. Put that brush back where it goes. Pick up some Van Dyke Brown. We're going to put this on the palette. I'll put it right there. Alright, let's pick up some Van Dyke Brown. And maybe a little bit of, no, not that. How about, no. Raw umber, I guess that'll work. Those are both pretty dark though, but I was hoping to get some burnt sienna in here, but I don't see it right here at my fingertip. That's okay. Alright, so let's just put a couple of rocks in here. Let's put one let's pull this out. So putting in rocks is no different than putting in mountains, right? They're just they're just smaller, depending on your canvas size, you know. I'll tell you what, let's carry that rock on out that way. Now, the things that are pulled in close on your canvas like this are nice things to leave texture in. People kind of like that. They kind of like being able to touch it and feel it. All right. Let's pull some in over. Let's put another one in. Let's put one right here. So you see I'm scrubbing this in pretty good. I'm not. So I'm actually putting my finger on the blade to put this paint on here, but not when I get ready to highlight it. All right. Maybe one, I don't know, not really on center, but maybe like over that way a little bit. Not sure what all this beach is about. We'll find out as we go. All right. Okay. All right. Any other questions out there? Hey, Graham. Graham was a birthday boy not too long ago. All right. I'm just going to kind of, a little too much paint to my liking there. Right. I'm just going to move it around a little bit. All right. Same over here. A little much. Okay. Let's. All right. I like that. So let's put. So now I've kind of got the foreground. I kind of understand where I want to go with the foreground. So let's do a little bit of a wave out here. Let's put. I don't think I use a color. Let's use a fan brush and some titanium white. Let's kind of. We just kind of put some foam in here. Okay. And then maybe kind of drop it down and pick it back up. All right. That'll be. So we'll go back to the knife in a minute, but first, let's just work out this wave. It's not one of those great, big, gigantic waves like Bob used to like to paint, but you can't swim in those kind of waves anyway, right? So let's just kind of. I'm just going to kind of pull this color down a little bit. And voila. Just like that. A lot of people avoid water. They don't like to put those waves in there. They're pretty easy to do. Once you get the hang of it, just need to practice it a little bit. Alright, back to the knife a little bit. So we want to put some water lines in. I think I'm going to run out of paint, but I have to get some more paint out in a minute. Alright, so let's just kind of, let's see. Put some water lines. Let's figure this inside water lines first. We can let that color mix together. That's fine. Get some of that brown in with the white. That's good. We kind of actually mix in. Now, by pushing this down and creating these little ridges, it gives you the impression that the water is coming off of the rocks. So that's good. That's always good. Yeah, I did run out of paint. Hang on. Ran out of some white. All right. Have I missed anybody's questions? We're gonna be doing another painting here before too long, but I want to try to get a lot of question and answer stuff out of the way if I could. So just put a little bit of waves in here on the front part of the beach. Come here. I'll try to keep my arm out of the way. Let's put some right in here. Okay, Melinda, I'll probably be here. It's kind of a rainy day here, so after a week of being out in my garden, it's kind of nice to take a little bit of a break. Pushing dirt. All right, I'm gonna highlight these rocks a little bit now. I'll find a color that I like though. I don't really have anything right here at my fingertips. Let's see what. Let's just mix a color then. Let's pick some of that, some of this. Maybe some more of that. Yeah, that looks okay. Let's mix a little bit of darker color in with that. There we go. All right, let's try this. Okay, now let's add a little bit of, put some water splashy around some of that maybe. Just a little bit of splash water. Let's see. So I got a little bitty fan brush, just because it's here nearby. Let's see. Dip into some little bit of liquid white here. Pull some of that water over the edge. Not everywhere. Just in a few spots. Okay. Maybe a little bit more. Let's take some of this liquid white and just try to create some splashing over there. Here we go. There we go. All right. Well, got one water line right here. It's crooked. So when you get a crooked water line, there's nothing in oil paint that you cannot fix. There's just not. You can fix anything. Let's straighten it back out. There we go. All right, guys. So there we go. I think that'll do it. Let me think about this for a second. Tell you what, let's do this. Let's pick up some titanium white. Let's just put a cloud coming like right off of this mountain like that. And then let's pick up some like that. All right, there we go. All right, I think we'll call this one done. Kind of greased to my sketch. All right, well, we started piddling on this other canvas. Hang on a second. Let me swap these canvases out. I have a place to put this one. Give me 1 minute. All right, so we had this canvas we were using to kind of demo these mountains a while ago and put some clouds up. So let's just clean up. Hang on, let me clean a couple brushes and we'll just take this painting and we'll do something with it. Alright, that brush is nice and clean. Hey! Hey, buddy. My school chum. Alright, so we got these mountains. Let's see. Alright, let's turn this into a painting from here. We used it to just to demo some stuff about laying stuff on mountains, and so we'll just use the rest of it here and see what else we can turn this into. Alright, so let's start off by putting some clouds up in the sky. A few more clouds. So I'm just going to kind of put some streamers up here. I don't need any big fluffy puffy clouds. Alright, that'll give us a start. Now, you've heard me say a couple times that there's nothing in oil painting that you can do that you can't fix. So, what if I just take and scrape off these mountains? Let's do that. It's a good practice for you. Alright, wipe my hands off. Now, you can take this all the way down to bare canvas and just start over if you want to, but let's just make use of what we got. Make use of what we got here. So let's just take a paper towel and smooth some of that out. You're welcome, Cheryl. You guys are always welcome. If you have something in particular you'd like to see, just let me know. If you have any questions about something, just spit it out. There are no dumb questions, because I think I probably have already asked them all when I was learning to paint. I have a painting class tomorrow. I do private lessons for people. I do not charge because I think people should be close to art. And most of my stuff that I learned how to do, I learned to do on YouTube. So, all right. Okay, so now, really, what we got here is we got kind of three, maybe a fourth, maybe a fifth little pointy head mountain. These little mountains are all pointy, and that's probably a really bad mountains. I don't know. Usually they don't look like that, right? They don't look like upside down snow cones. So I'm just wiping my hands off here real quick, and we'll get about it. Let's do something. Let's do something with these mountains. So we're going to take and do something with them. All right. So they're kind of sitting in the foreground with this thing, with those clouds pushed so far back. They really look like they're up here in the foreground. So let's take and let's start off by shaping them. So I'm gonna take a filbert brush, and load it with some paint, with some mountain mixture color. First I'm gonna redefine these guys. So let's go. I think this mountain should be a little bit taller, maybe like more angularly like that. You can keep that down shape. Like that, maybe a jut out like that. And then let's see, this guy here is kind of like that. Take his little knobby top off too. All right. Now this guy, he's kind of curves in like this, and then he's kind of really sharp down that way. he's a little bit pointy, but not too much. And then maybe there's another one right there. Yeah, that works. All right. All right, so you can see it's already, we're just a couple of minutes in here into this, and it's already starting to take some shape. Push this mountain. We may decide this is part of the same peak. All right. All I'm doing is, I'm kind of deciding the slopes too, but I'm just pulling this paint down to thin it across the canvas. Because this is an undercolor, so it doesn't really play into how it's going to be when it's all said and done. Put a little bit more color on this side. All right. So now they look, you can see they look a lot different than they did. All right. Now let's start turning them into something really good, or at least something better than they were. How about that? All right, let's take a 1-inch brush. We're gonna pull this. I'm just gonna determine where the slopes are. So pull this one out. So set this mountain back farther. I'm pulling the slope out on this one. I'm gonna say this mountain's in front of that one. So I need this to be over here like this. And that mountain's gonna curve around on that side. And this mountain's going to come in behind it like that. So can you see that? You see how it's kind of, and then this side here will be curved around like that. And this side here will go in front of that mountain. And this mountain will come across. So this will be, all right. Let's put that mountain in front. Let's just make that a separate peak. All right. So that one's going to go around. These are going to curve that way, and this one's going to curve out that way. And then, I don't know, something will go down here. Something will go down that part. All right. You could leave these that color, or leave one of them that color, and put color on everything else if you wanted to. Or you could do what we're going to do here. We're going to add some color to different things. So let me get the knife. Start off with some midnight brown, and we're going to start off with some midnight brown down this side of the mountain. There's going to be mostly black, so that's okay. All right, so these are mountains we started off with a few minutes ago when we were practicing, when we were doing practice stuff. All right, let's start to add some more color to it. So we're going to mix this color up with some yellow ochre. Oh, thank you, Pam. All right. So this kind of, so this is 1, 2, 3, 3 layers, 3 colors on here so far. We're putting on a little bit more out this way. All right. Now, let me wipe that knife off a little bit. We're going to bring in some more color. We're not quite to where we want our highlights yet, but let's take this, and this. All right, so without adding any white yet, we're going to lighten this color just a tad. Just slightly. And we don't want it everywhere. We just want it in a few places. And maybe even lighter still, up right here on the top. So we're bringing this value up really slow. By doing that, it'll give you a nice, without having to go to white, you got some nice highlights. All right, now this side, these sides are dark. You can leave them that way, but I don't think we will. I think we'll start off. Let's go back to Van Dyke Brown, which is the bottom color on the second layer of color on this side. So let's just take some Van Dyke Brown. Let's just start to pull some of this color out, down. I need to put this knife off. Excuse me while I wipe off my knife. Ugh. All right, now let's do it. All right, here we go. So that mountain's pretty steep. Put some on this side too. So now you can see, but adding these multiple layers of color, the mountains are really starting to push back onto the sky. They're really starting to set back in there. Now, I'm going to go back to the original color, which was Mountain Mixture. Just add a little bit of that in. Okay, that didn't really do what I wanted to do. All right, hang on. Wheel knot. Where did it go? Where did it go? I don't think that's it. Where'd it go? Hang on. Gotta find the color I'm looking for. It's not that hard to color. Oh, here it is. Sitting right in front of my face. All right. I'm going to take a color just a little bit darker. Maybe. We'll see in a second. We'll put it up there. I don't know. Well, it really is. Now I'll tell you what though, we'll put some of that color, that light darker color right here on the front side of this. Just to create some shadows on the light side. There we go. Okay, now let's add a few more little effects to this. Let's try, I don't know how this is going to work. We'll find out. I think I want to add some fog into the files a little bit. Push it back. And then we'll come back and put a little bit of snow on top of some of this. So let's get a fan brush and some titanium white. And let's just tap in some fog. In front of these this way. I'm going to put some more in front of this in a second. Okay, now I'm just pushing the color in, softening it out. Now you can do that. You can do that with any brush you want. I'm gonna soften it even further with a 1-inch brush here in just a second. Or you can use a larger fan brush. That's just as easy. I just happen to have a 1-inch brush right here at my fingertips. So let's just do this. I'm just fluffing it up a little bit. You don't want to destroy everything you just put in there, but all right. So yeah, we had a little test painting here, and we're just kind of turning it into something. We're using the demo of how to do mountains. So when we get done, we'll have something cool here we can play with. All right, let's see. Let's put some rolling hills like in front of that. Let me get some sap green. And maybe I got some cerulean blue on the palette. We'll just kind of mix those two colors together on the brush. Let's kind of now, you could take these. Well, let's just do that. We could take and pull this up and kind of turn into just a billion different trees back there. So just kind of pull it up lightly, like this. If anybody asks you, just tell them you did them one at a time. There we go. All right. Pretty good. All right, let's take and put tell you what, let's kind of stick with that color a little bit more. I'll tell you what, before we do that, even before we do that, let's do that. Let's put some more fog. Let's put another layer of fog in here like this. We may cover some of that up, but we might not. Let's see. All right. So now we can see, got this little bit of a darker band through here, right here. Let's just take that darker band and make it just a little bit darker, like that. Let me pull some of that up. Create another little row of trees back in there. It'll give us another layer of depth, right? All right, let me clean that brush. All right, okay, so we're gonna put, let's see, this layer of landscape in here, weren't we? All right, so let's just kind of, I'm going to pull this color down, take this color, I'll keep this color I got, but I'm going to pull it down for now. I think I need a little bit of liquid white. We're going to pick that right there maybe. There we go. I know you guys are like, what is he doing? Nah, it's going to be okay. All right. Let me clean this brush out real good. Make sure it's dry. We're going to take that, we're going to take all that color I just pulled down. We're going to pull it off and turn it into reflections. So suddenly we got a lake right here. So now we need some blue. We need some more that's really in blue. Okay, Bruce. Take care, buddy. All right. So let's just take this. So I'm just picking this blue up off the palette here. All right. Well, that was quick. All right, let's put some water lines in here. And that'll set it back. I've almost gotten used to my new setup here. This has been a good video for me. All right, let's see. So, tell you what, just to put more layers in the painting. So you look, we got 1 sky, the clouds is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. All right, so let's pull it out a little bit. Let's get a little bit of this and a little bit of color. Let's just put some, off in the distance here, we'll put some landscape. Like that. Can you guys see that on the video? Okay. I'm kind of putting the highlight on at the same time with the dark. All right. Now let's put the water lines in. All right. So I'm going to go follow that line we just put in. Picked up some color, so I just need to clean my knife off. All right. Some water lines out here in the water. I'm gonna put maybe we'll throw a couple boulders in the water. What do you guys think? Should we throw a couple boulders out there? Why not? Let's do that. Real quick. Not too hard to do. All right, guys, here we go. So take a filbert brush. We will put like brown on one side, like that. We will put titanium white on the other side. So the brush is double loaded. Different color on each side. Brown side down. We're just going to come in here and put a couple boulders. Just turning that brush. A little bit more white on there, please. Like that. There we go. All right, man. So there you go. There's something that was just a mess of things that I'd thrown together to help do a demo. And turned it into a painting. That was fun. All right. Let's see. Is there anything else we want to do? I guess that'll do. All right. So there's 2 paintings. I hope you guys are having a great Friday. I know this has really helped me today because I've just been frustrated trying to do everything I've been trying to do today has gone wrong. So at least I can control this. So y'all have a great weekend. Have a wonderful Easter. Remember, the good Lord died for your sins, and mine too. So it's a lot to rejoice about. Have a great evening, and I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.